Hi, I'm Luisa,
I'm Michael.
and we are Retired Life Mexico, and we help people see the reality of living as retired people here in Mexico from our point of view. Today, we're so excited because we are going to answer one of the questions that we get, and it is, how do we create community, or how do we have friends? How do we meet people living here as retired people in Mexico?
We met some great folks here in Oaxaca, Mexico through our Go With Less meetup, and we do it all over the place.
We do what?
We meet people.
We meet people through that group, and this is an interview of those two people, a lovely couple, and we hope you enjoy it. So stay tuned. So, who are you guys?
I'm Mei-Ling.
And I am Brian.
Hi.
And they are members of Go With Less, and we're so excited to have them here today to explain their story to us. So, take it away.
3 years ago, we started looking at maybe living overseas someday. And we were both still working then and very busy. And it started with the idea of being expat in a particular place. And through Facebook, we discovered lots of resources, including the Go With Less group.
Mhm.
And that was eye-opening because there were people out there doing things that we never imagined before. In
Like
terms
what?
of traveling full time, pet sitting, basically competing to pack lighter than anybody else. It was just,
True.
if you can think of a way to travel, people were traveling.
Yeah, not having a permanent address. I kind of like, whoa, what was that?
Yeah, and how do you do that?
Right.
So, and people that were not just doing it, but becoming a resource for others to do it, like in the Go With Less group. So
Mhm.
that was probably one of the biggest eye openers. We toyed with the idea. I kept trying to nudge Mei-Ling.
We thought we'll push them to like retirement age after, taper down the job. So they talk about 7 years later. And then he mentioned, oh, we can do it now. We are only like 6 months from our son's college graduation. So we started exploring. So after he graduated from college, we pretty much don't have any financial burden. So we could start early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was, he had gone off to college in 2018.
Yeah.
And that's right at that point, we already started downsizing. So
Mhm.
the whole idea of downsizing wasn't new to us. We'd started doing that. We'd move out of a house
Mhm.
and into an apartment complex just when COVID started. And so we were already exploring a less responsible lifestyle, I like to say.
And we always have a love of traveling and I love watching traveling show.
Yeah.
So
Right.
we already talk about what to do after retirement, what to
Mhm.
continue to travel, visit all the places that we haven't had a chance to visit.
And it's a different mindset, wouldn't you
Yeah.
think?
It's a completely different
Yeah.
mindset.
But we're still the traditional, stay at home, take 2 or 3 weeks vacation here and there,
Yes.
that kind of thing.
Jam
Right.
it all in 2 or
Yeah.
3 weeks, come back exhausted.
Yeah.
Um,
Until this guy told me I can retire and start traveling
Oh,
full
yeah.
time.
yeah, and it's like, we don't have to wait to retire. You could quit your job. And I was already mostly working remote anyway for myself. Those were the magic words.
Yeah, the magic word. Like, okay.
And how did you
So-
come up with those ideas, though?
Primarily through Facebook
Mhm.
and reading, and we lurked for quite a while on Go With Less. So we just read posts, and through Go With Less, we discovered other similar groups like Senior Nomads. Realized there were just lots of resources of ways to do it, because you have to figure out a lot of things. You have to figure out, how do I maintain a mailing address that's more than just a virtual address that banks won't like, because
Right.
you've got the banking issue.
That's for sure.
How am I going to do with my prescriptions?
Mhm.
And what about medical? Everybody thinks, oh my gosh, if I leave the US, what am I going to do about medical? Hey, here's a hint. There's great medicine everywhere. Medical
Yeah.
experts. We've had medical work in Valencia, Spain. Yeah, in Spain. We had dental in Prague. We had medical in Kuala Lumpur.
Mhm.
And The quality has been fabulous,
Mhm.
and the price has been like way down here.
Yeah.
But so we started learning all this.
Yeah, just
Mhm.
reading and just lots
Yeah.
and lots of research before even starting.
And then we met people.
Yeah, and then we start engaging in some meetup, they call.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The first one is in Seattle, and a big group, like 20-something people. Some are like us, haven't started yet. Some are doing nomading for 10 years,
Yeah.
and some of them are in between.
Right.
So we hear a lot of different story, asking
Mhm.
questions and, tips and things that, oh, this is possible.
Yeah, it was very possible.
Mhm. And a lot of people ask us, how do you afford it though? If you stop working, you don't have an income anymore and you're not retired, I mean, age yet.
But I could choose to do online work, so remote work. If I
Mhm.
can sign up for some organization, do bookkeeping online if I choose to,
Mhm.
and you're still working
Yeah,
because you're pretty much remote work for last 5 years.
yeah,
Yeah.
since about 2020.
Yeah, all you need is the internet.
I haven't met with a client in person in about 4 or 5 years,
Wow.
which, by the way, is fabulous to me. There are some people that work remotely online. They travel, and as long as they've got Wi-Fi,
Mhm.
and in fact, there's now co-working spaces in almost any decent-sized city you go to.
Sure.
Everybody finds their own way and budget for travel. For us, we had saved well and invested well, and so it gave us a little more freedom.
Mhm.
Other people do a lot of pet fitting. They stay in hostels, and they're actually hostels. Like my remembrance or memory of hostels was from the 70s and 80s,
Yes.
and they were not the greatest places, and they were for like backpackers.
Mhm.
We have a friend who's our age.
Yeah. And she chose to stay in
She chooses
hostels to
hostels.
meet people because she's a single woman traveler and she loves to make friends. So she chose to stay in hostel just to make friends.
And a lot of them are very nice now.
Mm.
For much better. I mean, it's lower cost, but
Mhm.
they're better accommodations.
What about those points things?
Points? Yeah, that too. That helps.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we're still just on the discovery path of points, which we also learned about through a meetup
Mhm.
and Go With Less.
Mhm.
Friends that are now friends of ours, they introduced us to the idea. We started going online and learning more, and there's actually free classes you can take. And so we're in the accumulation stage of points, and we've actually accumulated a lot. We have to figure out now how to start using
How to
them.
spend them.
We use a little bit when we in Oxford. We got a free
Free
hotel. We got
hotel.
a
We've
free
used it for
flight
the
in
flight.
France.
Yeah, from was it from Morocco to no
Something like that.
from
Something like
Paris to Croatia.
Yeah.
So we've used them a little bit, but we know people who regularly use their points
that. Mhm.
and keep their costs way down. So
Yes.
that's our goal.
Yeah.
Mhm. Sure.
So there's many, like you said, many ways to do it and fit your budget.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's doable.
And how long have you guys been traveling?
We started this 2022.
September 2022,
Yeah.
we flew to Europe.
Oh.
So we started in Spain,
Mhm.
and except for Morocco, we were in Europe for 11 months.
Wow.
And
And you didn't come back to the States at all for in
No,
that time?
no time. Yeah.
not
just
for
one
11
time.
months.
So at the beginning, I wasn't sure what to expect. So I told him that I gave him 1 year. It's a trial.
It's much like when she first agreed to marry.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a trial. So we shove everything in the storage and then just take off for 11 months with 2 suitcases, a big and small, and travel through all 4 seasons almost.
And did you plan that all ahead of time or did you wing it?
Each time we plan about 3 or 4 months.
Mm.
And then within the 3 or 4 months in the middle of it, then we plan the next 3 or 4 months.
Mm.
We have, we put our map, circling places we want to go, and then
Mhm.
see what route makes sense.
Yeah.
That's how we planned it, that one trip in
Mhm.
particular.
And that's generally what we've done.
Yeah.
We're not like, we have friends who will plan
A year.
a year and a
Or
half
2,
in advance
yeah.
too.
Some
They
2.
have friends, really good, great planners. We're like, we're going to go to this region,
Mhm.
and we know we're at for the next 2 months.
Mhm.
And we're booked for at least the next 45 days, wherever we're staying, sometimes more.
Yeah, sometimes.
well-
Depends on how many cities in between.
Yeah,
For example, in Croatia, we only have 1 month to 3 city.
Yeah.
Then we probably plan a little closer.
That was
And
all
then-
booked.
Yeah,
too.
and then, but we have a 4-month stretch. Like, do we go to UK or do we go to Turkey? So, it takes some time to figure things
Yeah.
out.
And then did you have meetups with the Go With Less group in those areas that you
Yeah.
visited?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Starting with
Pretty much every city.
Valencia, Barcelona.
Mm-hmm.
Where else were we in Europe?
Berlin.
Berlin.
Met up with a person from US, I
Oh,
think, Austria.
And in Split, Croatia.
Speak Croatia.
And then in Asia too. I mean,
Yeah,
we've done
usually
that
we have
in
like 3 or 4.
Bangkok, Chiang Mai, Kuala Lumpur,
Yeah.
Georgetown. Yeah.
So when you're in these different areas, do you know what to go see there, or do you use your Facebook groups or the other sites like the Senior
Little bit-
Nomads?
A little bit
Go
both.
With-
It's
Yeah.
a mixture of things. In Europe, there's really good information, written information as well. So we know when we're going there in Europe. Like for years, we used Rick Steves' posts.
Oh yes.
And so if you want to know where to go and see things and what to see, that was easy. Asia's a little tough. And some of the groups, like Go With Less is a great example. They actually have files. So you can go to the Go With Less page, you can go to the files section, and they've started these streams now on cities around the world. So you can go to Singapore and people post things they've done, things they didn't think were great, medical resources, restaurants,
Yeah.
tours, drivers.
Yeah.
You can find lots of information.
Yeah. And all the travel group, like Senior Nomads, if you post something, oh, I'm planning to go here, any tips or advice, tons of people give you tons of stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
And the other one is also almost every major city has an expat group now.
Yeah.
So like we're in Oaxaca right now, and before we got here, we were using extensively the expats Oaxaca.
For example, we know we'll be in Bangkok and he need new glasses. So I just post like, oh, anybody have a recommendation for eyeglasses place? And we went there.
Yeah.
It's a success.
Works fine. Yeah.
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 So it's not such a big scary world out there.
No?
It's really not actually. It's a fun, beautiful world.
And do you ever get feeling like you're isolated or lonely?
No, I
Not
don't think
really.
so.
That was a concern at first too, right? We
Yeah, it
talked
was-
about this
yeah.
because we're leaving our friends
Mhm.
behind where we made them. And then, what's it going to be like? How do we find a community?
Right.
And part of all the materials we were reading helped us realize there are so many people doing something like this in their own way.
Yeah.
Some people are full-time, some people are part-time, but there's so many people doing it. And you connect online, and it's kind of how we met here in
Right.
Oaxaca, right? It's
Yeah.
like
Exactly.
there's a Sunday meetup on Go With Less where people post where they're at for the
Mhm.
next 3 or 4 weeks. Let's see who's in the city that I'm at. Oh,
FaceTime our son every 2 or 3 weeks, and relative, keep in touch with WhatsApp and phone call. I call my sister every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it doesn't feel lonely. It really doesn't.
No, and what I agree with you, and what I really find fun and probably my favorite part about this kind of lifestyle is we meet people who are like us.
Yeah.
People who don't have to convince that it's okay to be here in Mexico, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And
yeah.
it's not a scary place like
It's like,
people
what are
think.
you doing?
And we have so much in common. So there's
Right.
a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
We can like
Which-
sit around.
For us, it's more important. We make sure our son
Mhm.
and Mei-Ling's sister know where we're at all times,
Right,
so
right.
people can find us.
Right.
We post on Facebook, so my sister will watch Facebook feed and know where we are.
Hopefully not much longer. 2 months and it's over.
Woo! Retired in 2
Absolutely
months.
retired.
So you've been in Mexico for how long now?
We arrived there September 19th. So yeah,
Mm-hmm. So what do you think of Mexico?
That's fun. Everybody's so friendly
Mm-hmm.
and love the food.
Yes.
Yeah.
food's
Yeah.
great. It has been an eye opener
Mhm.
because we've never been to Mexico down here before. I've been here to Mexico City once on business.
Mhm.
If you come on business, you see conference rooms and hotels, right? So
Right.
it's different.
Yeah.
But it's an eye opener.
Yeah. I love to watch a traveling show. And one time I watched a show about Oaxaca. I was like, oh, I always want to go there just to see it because it sounds so unique. And
Mhm.
here we are.
Yeah.
We're loving it.
This has been a good intro because we'll be back and we'll see a lot more.
Mhm.
We're down here studying Spanish,
Mhm.
and that's been fun because the school
Yeah.
allows. We discovered the school we're at through our friends we've made through Go With Less.
Okay.
Yeah.
it's been a good segue. And it's because we're not bouncing around. We're in one place for a while. We feel like we're getting to know the city.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think that's another thing you can do when you travel too. And Mei-Ling's really good at it is if you're in a neighborhood for a few weeks or longer,
Yeah.
find a coffee shop you like or a restaurant you like or a bar and go there regularly.
Right.
Yeah.
We don't have to tell them what we want.
Right.
Yeah.
It's funny. They
Yeah.
know the coffee.
In Barcelona, we have a market store that we go regularly buy produce.
Mhm.
And when she see us coming, oh, San Francisco.
San Francisco,
We go to
yeah.
San Francisco.
So I want to go back to that part where you said this visit to Mexico has been eye-opening.
If you grew up in California like we did, most of your perceptions of Mexico are through the media, whether it's entertainment or the news, and they can be negative. You can almost be a little afraid to
Mhm.
try it. We walk a lot. So when we go someplace, we don't necessarily jump on every single tour group or every event. We walk almost every neighborhood we can get to
Yeah,
on
yeah.
foot.
Mhm.
We take public transportation if we can figure it out. Not always. And so it's eye-opening because one, we've never felt at risk or threatened.
Mhm.
And there's places in every city we'll go to, including in Oaxaca and in Mexico City, where you will feel a little nervous,
Right.
but so would you in San Francisco, Seattle, Los Angeles, New York. You pick the city in
Yeah.
America that's got a decent sized population,
Mhm.
you'll find those neighborhoods. We
Right.
kind of wander around, on foot anywhere from our Airbnb
Mhm.
or hotel. And we just never felt threatened here. We
Yeah.
feel like we can ask anybody a question.
Yeah.
And even if there's no language commonality,
Yeah.
because our Spanish is not well developed enough yet to really, we can ask questions, we can't understand the answer.
I remember that part. Yeah.
So that's where we're at.
Mhm.
But people always try to
Yeah. try
help
to-
us figure it out. And
Mhm.
that's been really nice. People are always worried about the water in
Mhm.
Mexico. By the way, it's the same in Southeast Asia,
Yep.
just so you know.
Yep.
But most restaurants are giving you filtered water. They actually are careful. There's
Yeah.
bottled water everywhere. You don't have anything to be afraid of.
And no different in your hometown to be aware of your surroundings,
Aware of
right?
your
There's always
surroundings, yeah.
petty crime everywhere you go.
Right.
So if you don't pay attention about your surrounding,
Mhm.
it's, even you can't be safe at home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah.
Exactly. So what's next for you after Mexico?
We're going back to
We're going back
Seattle,
to Seattle.
and we're going full-time travel
Yeah.
after June 30th.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So by the way, we haven't picked a place.
Oh,
We have a list.
We have a
of-
list.
ever-growing list of that we want to visit.
Mhm.
Maybe it's North Asia,
Yeah.
maybe it's South America. In our typical way, we will, about 3 months before we go, start booking things.
Yeah.
Maybe buy the plane ticket.
Yeah. And this time we probably less city hopping in a short period of time, more like spend at least a month, sometimes
Mhm.
2 months in one place,
Mhm.
location.
Yeah.
Get
We
to
prefer
experience
that.
the culture.
Yeah.
We like
Yeah.
to experience the culture.
Mhm.
So we're going to try and avoid, despite the fact that we're going back to Seattle in January this year, we're going to try and avoid cold winters.
Yeah.
And we were in Southeast Asia this last spring. We went from January to May,
Mhm.
and it's hot.
Yeah.
Now, it's Southeast Asia. It's kind of hard not to be
Right.
hot,
It's kind of hot all the time.
but I think we'd probably like to find like the
More-
68 to
Mhm.
78 degree
Mhm.
in general.
Mhm. That's
which is-
really nice.
It's hard to,
That's
Get
the
the
goal.
whole time. That's the goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every now and then we deviate, it's okay.
So any last words or suggestions or tips or hints for people who are watching?
fast. You don't have to spend a lot. You don't have to spend a little. Don't feel guilty about finding what your sweet spot and just go for it.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Well, it's been so great talking with you. I hope our audience gets some value out of this.
Okay.
And we're going to wrap it up and do a little closing with Michael because he's over there too. People are going to say, what, you kicked Michael out? No, he's here.
Saving the best for last.
There you go. There you go. Thank you for taking the
Thank
time
you.
to share that with
It
us.
was great being
It
here.
was great.
Yeah.
Okay. So fun meeting you.
Yes.
It's been great. Well, that was a really nice interview with Mei-Ling and Brian, don't you think?
Yeah, I really agree. They're a real fun couple, and they're very similar to us in their travels.
It was really nice of them to take time out of their visit here to Oaxaca to do that interview with us, and we really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So if you enjoyed that video, be sure to give us a thumbs up and let us know in the comments if you would like to see us interview more people, especially those who actually live full-time in the city and either in Oaxaca or Puerto Vallarta. In the future, we might be doing some of those
Mexico.
videos.
Yeah.
Yeah. So don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below, and we'll see you next time.
Ciao.
Hasta luego. Bye.